162. Are we ready?
We are ready.
Good afternoon, good morning, or good evening, and welcome to the Blurring the Lines podcast, episode 162. I am your host, Peter Nikolaidis, and as always, joining me is my co-host, Adam Bell.
Peter Nikolaidis. Oh, no, I'm Adam. Yes, good to see you, Peter.
Good to see you too. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
We're back.
We're back, ready for a brand new year. It's an even year. I think even years are better, except 2020.
So even years and Star Trek movies?
Even years and Star Trek movies. What does that mean?
The
even Star Treks are better?
Even Star Trek movies. Yep. The first one, terrible. The second one, Wrath of Khan, really good. The third one, The Search for Spock, not so good. The fourth one, The Voyage Home, pretty good, et cetera, et cetera. So
yeah.
And on that note, Matrix movies only get worse over time.
They don't have a 1, 2, 3, 4. It's just all down.
I say that because I watched the Matrix Resurrections.
Did you watch that? I almost thought it was a joke.
It took me 3 tries, sitting through it. Okay, this isn't, I want some dinner. Pause, get up, came back the next day, played it on for another half hour or so. I got to go to yoga class now. Okay, fine. Came back next day. All right, half an hour later, I can plow through this.
I really thought it was a joke. I thought it was like a holiday joke. I was like, really?
Yeah. Did you watch it or not?
No, I didn't.
Yeah. It was like a made for TV movie. That's what it felt like to me. I was just like, so yeah. However, I did see Spiderman No Way Home.
Yeah.
7 or 8 thumbs up for that one.
Really? What made it, without any story, what made it better or good?
They did a really good job honoring all of the Spider-Man movies that have come before. They did a really good job tying it in with the rest of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And Willem Dafoe, Alfred Molina, I can't even remember his name now. Molini, Alfred Green, Dr. Octopus. Alfred. Why am I blanking on this? Alfred Molina. Thank you, Molina. I think Molini. Was great. Why can I not remember anyone's names anymore? Whoa. Jamie Foxx was great as Electro. So they did a really good job. I don't want to, I'm only saying things that have been public, because these people were all interviewed, right? So the 3 actors gave interviews, so we know that they're part of it. So I don't want to say any more, just in case people have, not been able to find a relatively uncrowded theater like I was able to, and are worried about COVID-19 and the Omicron variant. So I don't want to spoil it.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it a lot. I'm looking forward to seeing it again. I would probably go see it again on another matinee, like a 11 a.m. showing sometime during a weekday.
Yeah.
I waited until this week. It was only, I guess, Monday when I went, just to let everything quiet down. There were still plenty of people in the theater, but there was, nice arm's length, and the closest guy who was sitting next to us, seemed to be taking precautions seriously. Like, he would pull his mask down, stuff popcorn in his face, pull his mask up to chew. It wasn't one of those take the mask off, throw it across the theater, and I'm eating. Yeah. So I appreciated that. And I also appreciate reserved seating from AMC theaters. So the closest theater, I can buy my tickets however many days in advance, and you can see what seats are available. And even right up until the movie, you can change your seats around. So I was able to juggle around and get to a not so crowded spot in the theater, which was nice.
That's cool.
Yep.
I was noticing that, and so at Kroger, I went to Kroger to pick up a pharmacy the other day, and you know, there's different states of masking. There's people who don't have any on, there's people who do have it on, and it's a really mixed bag. And I thought it was like, well, it's kind of cool that it's no longer abnormal, you know, because at first it was unusual for me to wear a mask.
Right.
I didn't want to. And then when we were allowed to take them off, then it was like, well, I feel uncomfortable not wearing one.
Yeah.
And then now we're in that place where, all right, if you've got one, good. If you don't have one, fine.
Not so good. I disagree though. That's the thing, is like, I heard that the studio, the yoga studio that I train at up in Vermont, apparently the owner wants to do away with the mask requirement. And I think that's a horrible idea. Yeah. And I just don't understand why nobody has the guts to just step up and say, everybody masked on, mask mandate, 30 days, everybody wear your mask, and this thing will gut squash. It'll go away. But we can't do that because freedom. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, a lot less people wear their mask here religiously. Some people religiously do, some people don't. Yeah. That's just kind of where we are. Well, that's funny, or not funny, but you know, I know a guy that was like, I am not, you know, the anti-vaxxers. Well, he got COVID, and I think it was probably way worse for him because he didn't have any vaccine whatsoever than it would have been had he had the vaccine. But it's like, well, it's real.
Did he turn it around and try to blame it on the mask?
No, I don't know.
I wouldn't have gotten COVID if I wasn't wearing this stupid mask. I just don't understand it. I'm trying to, I'm trying to understand the psychology behind it, but it's, oh my God, it's irritating. It is so irritating. So,
yeah. When I told you I watched that Don't Look Up.
Yeah.
You said you weren't all that, but it was, I was like, it's very much like our political landscape.
Oh, right, that's the point. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the point, is there's so many people that are making life decisions on politics, not on life. Yeah. I mean, they used a comment instead of a pandemic, but it's like all these people are choosing politics over it.
And that's the thing. That's exactly what it's going on. The thing is, like, it wasn't super good. I thought it was somewhat entertaining. It's totally dystopian and very disheartening. And then, other than that, someone said it was like, oh, it was like Idiocracy, but not funny. I thought Idiocracy was like way over the top, very juvenile, very gross at times. Yeah. I was just like, I just didn't need it. But both of them are really spot on and really sad when you stop to think about it. So yeah. So let's do what everyone else does. Let's just not think about it and hope it goes away.
Yeah. Or actively reject it.
Or, yeah, that's right. Just deny it. Right. It's not snowing here today.
No, I reject the snow.
Nope. I reject your reality and substitute my own.
Yeah, that snow dropped a whole bunch of snow here too.
Yeah. How much you get?
I don't know, probably about 7 inches.
Oh wow, it's about the same.
Depending on where you measure it. But like on my truck, I've got 7 inches of snow sitting on top of it.
In the as what was his name? Inigo Montoya would say, I wonder if you're using the same snow we're using.
Yeah. That word does not mean what you think it means.
So, all right.
So
what's next?
You guys are getting the storm right now, right?
Let me check. Still coming down.
Still coming down. Yep.
Still coming down. Yep.
It went all day. Now we don't even have a cloud in the sky.
Yeah, no, it's still happening here, and I imagine it's still hitting Vermont and New Hampshire too. So I haven't. I'm gonna call my dad later to get the weather report because it's something he likes to give. Oh, it's snowing a lot. I'm like, really? Yeah, I can tell that. I can tell that. We have this thing called a weather report down here and satellite and apps and stuff.
Yeah, I can watch the radar.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So did you ever get your car back?
Nope.
It's still there?
It's been a week and a half. My car has been at the Tesla dealership. They have no loaners to give me.
Yeah.
So they've given me $1,000 in Uber ride credits.
That's a lot of credits.
That's a lot of credits. I've used about $100 so far, and I aim to use them all. I am going to make Elon pay for every last dollar. What really irritates me about this is they don't even have an ETA of when they'll work on my car and when I'll get it back. I have zero visibility into what's going on. And they say the only way they can service the car is if they have it. So their system is designed so that they must have possession of the vehicle to schedule and perform service. So I could take my car back and lose my spot.
Lose your spot in the queue.
Right. Yeah. Which I don't know where it is. Right. If you're telling me like it's a difference between a month and 2 months right now, give me my car back. I'll check back in a few months.
Yeah.
Right. But I don't know. They could work on it today.
Are you
they can work on it next year for all I know.
Yeah.
I have no idea. So that's annoying. But on the plus side, I'm taking Uber Black rides everywhere I go now. So must look like the yoga studio is doing really well because I've shown up and gone to and from class a few times now in a Yukon XL.
There you go.
It's kind of fun, hop out. Oh, this is my stop. That's great. Thank you. Although that was not great yesterday because I ordered a ride and it was supposed to be here about half an hour before class. Should have dropped me off with about 25 minutes before class, plenty of time. And I was waiting and I'm watching and the clock is ticking and the car's not moving. And he was in the next city over, just sitting there for like 20 minutes. And I couldn't cancel the ride in the app.
Yeah.
I was trying to find it. I'm like, I know there's got to be a way to cancel this. I couldn't find it. I called the guy, got his voicemail. So I texted him and I said, please cancel this ride. It's too late because by the time I got to this point, he was going to arrive 3 minutes after I needed to be where I was going to be. It's like, no. So I got out and I'm like, I guess I have to walk or run there. I had not quite done my 10K yesterday. So I was like, all right, I'll wrap it up. I'll just run off. And then I remembered I can use Lyft.
There you go.
Because I have Lyft. I'll have to pay out of pocket, but whatever.
You'll get there.
I call the Lyft. He showed up 2 minutes later, had me there like 4 minutes later, a few minutes late, but not late for the start of class. My students were all okay. That's great. Fine. Okay, great. So we started and then I tried to get home and I noticed that I had numerous notifications and Uber wanted to charge me $20 for the canceled ride because what had happened was eventually I think the first driver just gave up. So they sent a different driver who again showed up late. But I wasn't getting the notifications because I'm teaching yoga class. So I have everything on Do Not Disturb. So I'm trying to get home and it's cold out and it's wet and it's dark. And I'm like, yeah, I could walk. I could wait for the next bus or I could call another Lyft and pay out of pocket or I could make this stupid Uber thing work. Well, Uber wanted me to pay $20 out of pocket to do this because they won't take my voucher credit for that. And I was annoyed at that. So I had to dispute the ride. Now, here's the thing. I had to dispute the ride for the second guy who showed up. And my concern is that means he's not going to get paid. And that's not fair. The first guy, yeah, I don't care, right? He should not get paid, but the other guy should. So I disputed the ride, but then I still had to pay $20. But eventually what happened while I'm sitting there at the yoga studio trying to figure out how to get home, I disputed it. Eventually I got a $20 Uber Cash credit, which I could then use to pay the $20 fee for canceling the ride.
Nice.
So after I thought about it, I'm assuming that means that the guy who showed up got some of that $20. At least I hope he does. I don't know. I know Uber sucks and they treat their people like dirt. So hopefully he got something. So hopefully that's there. But as of today, I still have around $900 of credit. And so once the snow clears up, I figure I'll take a Yukon down, get some groceries, drive it back home, maybe go out again for a donut. I don't know, just use it up. And then of course I have to call them because those expire on the 9th and they've already extended them once. And they also offered to get me a loaner, but I'm like, I don't want a loaner. I don't want a gas power. I don't want something I have to take to the gas station. That's yucky. So I want something else. So, because, all right, maybe if they give me a Dodge Challenger, that could be fun.
Yeah.
Especially in weather like this.
Yeah. Well, I told you about my Uber experience. I knew I was going to be traveling in the near future. So I created an account with a unique password. And I went, like I said, I did it a couple weeks before I was going to travel. So everything would be squared away. And I got notification that somebody had logged into my account in Denmark. Was it me? And I said, no, it was not me.
No.
And then I proceeded to try to get access back to my account. Well, because they had gotten in my account, replaced me. And I said, well, I can't get into my account. What do you, they're like, well, you must have a compromised computer. And I said, well, it was a unique password. I just don't get into Uber website.
Right.
And they're like, they went round and round about how this was my fault and whatever. I'm like, okay, well, give me back access to my account. Well, we can't. The email address has been changed in the account. And I said, just cancel the account then. Yeah. You want to set
did
up
that have
a new
your
account?
credit card number associated with it?
Yeah, I canceled that too.
Right.
And they said,
so did you ever figure out what happened then? I mean, it sounds like they got compromised.
I think they got compromised. And so I just gave up on it and went to Lyft and I've never gone back.
Yep. that was it. I mean, with all of the scummy practices that I was hearing about Lyft, about Uber, and I don't know that Lyft is any better, frankly,
Yeah.
But there was just like Travis Kalanick. I mean, there are a few people on the planet whom I would just love to choke. He's one of them. He's just a scumbag, and it's just a filthy company. I don't like using it, and frankly, Tesla's not really getting much more of my love these days either. So both of them in bed together. Wow, I'm not at all surprised. So
one of the new features of Lyft, and I'm sure you know this, but is that you can request a quiet ride.
Yes, Uber does that too.
And I like that. I don't mind chit-chatting with people. I'm okay with the, hey, how you doing? How's your day? Blah, blah, blah. And the light chatter in, and then I'm going to do but I don't want to talk for an hour.
Yeah.
My whole ride there.
Yep.
I'd really like a little nap. I'd like to catch up on my email now that I'm here on the ground and can read.
Yep.
So I request it quiet, but then they feel obligated to not do any chit chat at all. I'm like, I just want to have a little chit chat. Hey, how you doing? How's your day? I'm doing fine. How about you, sir? Just had a good trip. All right.
Exchange pleasantries and then let me take a nap. That's what I want.
That's what I want.
What I noticed with Uber Black, I'm assuming Lyft probably does this, you get to choose the conversation level as well as the temperature.
Yeah.
And, so normally I'll say cool, because if I'm too hot in a moving vehicle, I get nauseous.
Yes.
Right. But on nights when it's really cold outside, I want it a little warm, So, but it was nice is like, I've either been driving in Lincoln Town cars or Yukon XLs, and they all have climate climate controls and seat heaters in the back for your own zones. I was like,
Mhm.
all right, this is kind of nice. Yeah. It's like,
Mhm.
so yeah, I may as well get, I guess, trying to get some kind of piece of the luxury that I paid for this Model S, trying to get some bit of it back that I haven't had for a week now.
Yeah. A funny Lyft story. I was in South Carolina, and this woman who picked us up, I was there with my brother-in-law, and she had a Puerto Rican flag on her keychain, and she looked Hispanic. So I've been to Puerto Rico. Just a conversation started. I was like, "Hey, are you from Puerto Rico?" She says, "No." I said, "Oh, well," I said, sorry. I said, based on your keychain, I thought you might be from Puerto Rico or have visited there." Nope, nothing. She didn't say any more no or anything. She just didn't say anything. I was like, I guess
Conversational.
Yeah. So it's funny.
Wow. Ay. All right then. Well, there you go.
So did you have a good holiday? I mean, you got Christmas time. You went to your parents for Christmas, right?
Christmas, I was in Vermont. Yep. And
Mhm.
then New Year's, fairly quiet night at home, had some friends over, cooked a lot over that whole weekend, sort
Mhm.
of like the last hurrah of the holiday season.
Mhm.
So used my new New York Times subscription to get every penny out of that, and a bunch of good recipes, which
Yeah.
was a lot of fun. And yeah, so that was fun. And then back to work, and it's been a fairly decent work week coming back.
Mhm.
Um, Back now in full swing, doing my 10K every other day runs. So
Mhm.
back to normal, pre-marathon training normal,
There you go.
I should say. So I'm targeting about 20 some odd miles a week when I'm not training for a race.
Okay.
So that's the plan. And I found out last year I ran just almost exactly 1,111 miles. Yeah. Now, of course, like every now and then there would be something that the Apple Watch would miss
Yeah.
or, whatever, but it came out to like within a half a mile of 1111. So that's the number I'm sticking with.
There you go.
And my running buddy, Greg, recently convinced me to re-enable my Strava account.
Okay. What's
And
Strava?
Strava is a very popular fitness tracking app. As it happens, I know the founder. Used to work with him. He was another founder of a company that got acquired for Merck for just shy of $500 million.
Nice.
But anyway, he founded Strava, I forget how many years ago now, but it's a very popular fitness tracking and analytics platform. Now, I don't use the app to actually track my workouts because I don't really care for their app, but I
Mhm.
do have it. It has full access to all my Apple Health info.
Mhm.
And so it takes all of the data and it gives you more information than you would find in just say the Apple Health analytics
Okay.
stuff. So it's pretty cool. They have there were some security concerns a couple of years ago when it was found that military personnel were using them and they were logging all of their activities in foreign bases, which pretty much gave away their presence
Yeah.
because we had all these army people like doing all these workouts in these specific locations. And, the Taliban could say, oh, so that's where your base is,
There you go.
for example. Right. But I like the app and it integrates with like all the other popular services. So you've got a Fitbit, right?
I do.
Fitbit. So your Fitbit, because my running buddy Greg uses a Fitbit, and so it integrates with that.
Mhm.
So once you're done, you get this notification, and it can import your data. So if you wanted, we could be Strava friends,
Nah.
and then we can also, track not just our water intake, but our workouts. We could compare.
There you
And
go.
that way, I don't have to take like stupid screenshots of my workout and send them to you. It'll just show up in your feed. No pressure though.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't, well, because my workouts change every single day.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. If
Mhm.
you're recording them on your Fitbit, they're just there,
Mhm.
which is really cool. So
Yeah. Well, I record the activity, like when the
Yep.
activity starts and the activity stops.
Yep.
So my heart rate, whatever happens there, but I don't necessarily say that I'm doing burpees or box jump overs or
But what it would still give you though is like analytics in the end, like tell you like how many calories you burned,
Mhm.
and you can look at things like peaks and valleys as to, you know, when your real, you know, your harder work was, and
Mhm.
it does some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah. So Strava, and there's the free offering does plenty. There's a commercial offering. I think it's like $60 a year.
Mhm.
And frankly, I forget what it gets you. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. All right. What else we got?
So, well, with the new year, what are your new resolutions?
Read more, run more, and restore more. And by that, I mean do more yoga.
Yeah. Not rotund.
Not rotund more. I do not want to do that. As that happens, though, funny you mentioned that. Rotund was one of the words in the New York Times spelling bee today.
Ah, okay.
Yes. So spoiler alert. Of course, by the time you hear this, dear listener, it's going to be too late for you to use that. But
Yeah. Yep. And then for me, I'm just going to try to continue to be healthy. I've been trying to lose weight slowly and, you know, maybe find my six pack.
Where'd you leave it? In the fridge?
I left it in my 20s.
I am at a point where you can see that I have a six pack, but it's still, it's got some insulation. It's not a lot. It's you know, it's just like I have like leftover, you know, skin and flab from when I was you know, when I was larger as a child and a teenager. But even like when I was in the low 150s, like, you know, leading right up to the marathon and really thin, you could see I have stuff, but it's not like super bulgy definition kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
What about if you grab
my
them on
arms
the
and
side
legs,
and
however,
pull
those
back?
are ripped. Yeah, I got to just like just grab it. Yeah, there you go. Pinch an inch and tug it. I hear there are surgeons who can do that for you permanently.
Yeah. I don't see that happening.
Yeah, not in the cards. I didn't put that as a New Year's resolution.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about, so you're gonna find your six pack.
I'm gonna try to
What
find my
specifically are you doing? Where are you looking for your six pack?
So I'm, you know, just kind of making more healthy choices across the board by quantitative measurement. What you count gets better.
Yep.
Keeping track of my diet, keeping track of my water, keeping track of my exercises, and doing 6 days of workouts every, an hour, not stupid, but at least an hour every day for six days, and do a little bit of extra walking after that. I mean,
there you go.
Skip the ice cream after dinner and the beer.
Well, those will make differences. Those will definitely make differences.
Yep. But the hard thing for me, or not the hard thing, I try to maintain a balance. So, it's simple math to lose weight. You burn more calories than you eat. But you also want to have a decent lifestyle. I don't want to be hungry all the time.
Right.
I don't want to be miserable 6 days of the week.
And really though, it's a matter of what you eat too, not just how much you're eating. And that's the thing that people lose track of. Because I've never seen any a study on this, but I would love to see a study of people, for like 30 days who eat their daily total energy expenditure of a single food every day. So like day one, you eat 1,000 calories of milk. Day two, you have 1,000 calories of peanut butter. Day three, you have 1,000 calories of spinach, something like that, right? Or 2,000 calories, whatever it is. because I guarantee it's not the same. Well, like day 4, 2,000 calories of nothing but beer.
Awesome.
Beer. Right. So what you eat is definitely more, as important as how much you eat. So
well, and I find that some foods, as are more filling as far as you're not so hungry.
Absolutely.
And I didn't, my water intake was not very balanced during the day. That's one of the things that I noticed by counting it, is that I'd be really hungry during the day. And that was when I was drinking the least amount of water.
Yep.
So now when I eat lunch, I'm not as hungry to eat lunch because I've been drinking water all along.
Right. And well, what happens, think about it. It all starts in going into the same place. The water is going to go into your stomach. And if it's full, you're probably not going to feel so hungry.
Yeah.
So that's a trick I use sometimes. I don't do it as much as I have at times, but if I start to get hungry, the first thing I'll do before I eat anything is pound a liter of water.
Mm-hmm.
Tends to curb the appetite just a little bit.
Yeah. Well, because you still are going to be hungry, but you won't overeat.
Exactly. Yep. So cool. All right. What else?
Let's see here. So you had mentioned we've got a couple nifties if we want to talk about those, and you had
yeah, we could use some NIFT in my life.
Some NIFT. All right. So from the nifty side, do you have any Berkey water filters?
I don't think I do.
Okay. So there's a company out there called Berkey. They have their big Berkey water filters, which are the big silver containers. They kind of look like a coffee maker, like the commercial coffee maker, but it's got their 2 parts. There's the bottom part, which is the reservoir. Then there's the top part, which is the reservoir with filters in, and it goes through the carbon fiber or carbon filters that drip down through the filter into the bottom reservoir. Berkey is one of the premier water filters for that.
Okay.
They're very expensive. They're very expensive when you say you're going to buy a water filter, because you want to buy a big Berkey, you're going to spend $300 on it, and you're going to put $150 worth of filters inside of them. Well, you're like, well,
and how long are those good for?
It depends on the volume. It's based on how many gallons of water you put through them and how dirty is your water that you're putting through them. If you're looking at for your home use where you are, you've probably got pretty clean water coming from the tap. Other than, biological stuff in your filters, you could probably use that 6-8 months, depending, because you don't have a lot of contaminants. Now down at my farm, I'm drinking well water. Well, you don't even know what's in that well. I mean, we can get it tested. Water. We can get it tested, but there's no filtering happening at all other than what's natural in the ground. And so I have to use a Berkey down there. So $300 for a water filter is not that expensive when that's the only source of your drinking water on location.
I concur.
Because it's more of a need than just, hey, I'm a health nut and I want ultra pure water. So with you. So I mean, I like them. I've been using them for over a year. No, longer than that, like 3 years.
Okay.
And the water tastes good. I don't have all the crud in it. It's amazing how dirty the water is that I put in there. It's very sulfurous because it's going through chert and limestone. And when you first fire up the showers, smells eggy in the house.
Yuck.
But
gross.
Yeah. But that filter, it takes it out. There's none of that funky taste in it. So it's really cool.
That's really cool. It makes me wonder too. Have you ever seen they make somebody makes water bottles with filtration systems built into them too. I've seen those. I don't think I've ever had one. Maybe I have. I don't remember. I don't now. I'm currently using the Hidratespark. And unless I missed my guess, I think you are too.
Hidratespark.
We talked about this on the last episode, right?
Yep. You talked about it, and I went with the gravity nozzle instead of the siphon.
I was just noticing that. I noticed the difference. That took me a while to get used to, because for mine, I was tipping it up and and it wasn't working. And I was like, what am I doing wrong? Oh, right. This is a suck on.
Yeah.
As opposed to a pour down the throat kind of model. So it did take me a little bit. Once I realized that, I was like, oh, okay. Got it. It. So I felt a little silly.
Yeah.
So I just took the first one that I found. I didn't like do a lot of digging into the options. I was like, yep, this was one that was the cheapest one. It was on sale. Take it. This is a good first venture. How are you finding the battery life?
Battery life has been good. I haven't run it to its end to see how long it will run. I let it run like 3 days and then I charged it. How long does yours last? I mean, how long could it last?
They say on their website between 10 to 14 days.
Okay.
Which I find, I don't know, I guess it, depends on how often you're drinking and putting it down and how many reminders you're getting, how long it's connected to the phone, and talking back and forth. But what I'm trying to do is just, I remember to like charge it on weekends, for instance, when I'm sitting around. But, I was wondering, because I took it up to Vermont on my last trip, and like, do I need to charge this? Do I need to take the charger with me? I don't know. And it's also not clear. I have to go look at the manual. Like, I don't know when it's finished charging. Like if it glows, because when it's charging, it's glowing and stuff, but I didn't even know, it's like, does it stop charging when it's done glowing? I don't really know.
So, I think it stops blinking when it's charged.
Yeah. So I'll have to actually read the manual or something.
Yeah. Well, and it really is an expensive water bottle. And it's definitely a first world water bottle.
Totally a first world problem, right? Between this and the issues I'm having with my Tesla and having to drive around in Yukons as a, yeah, I really don't think I have a right to complain a lot.
Yeah.
So trying to put that all in perspective.
Yeah. My normal water bottle is a, Kroger or Walmart, the flavored waters. So we drink all the flavored water out of it. Then I just save that water bottle and I use it until it becomes funky, and then I throw it away. So I'm like, well, I don't use it till it's funky. But I mean, I'm like, if I've been using one, it's 3 or 4 weeks. I'm like, yeah, I need a fresh one.
Fair enough.
I don't want to give myself colds and if I have a cold, obviously I throw one away right after the cold is over.
Well, I mean, that's the nice thing about disposable stuff is it, sanitary. So, I'm really trying to be better about that, and that's another thing I'm trying to cut down on is wastefulness. That's something that's been part of me for a long time, so that's not new, but hearing about like how much stuff when you return things to Amazon and online retailers, like how much of it just goes straight to the landfill. That sickens me. Just imagine, like, I had bought this bottle. If I decided, oh, you know what, I don't like it, then I send it back, to know that the likelihood is like 80% likely that they're just going to throw it out instead of donating it or reselling it as an open box item or something like that. That's just like, I don't know. And I don't know. I'm like wondering, are they afraid that people would just try to game the system? Like, well, I'm going to take this and then return it. And then, like know that it gets donated. So I've done my good deed for the day. Haha, screw you, Jeff Bezos.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So I try to, that's something that's really disheartening. But on that note too, like I'm toying with the idea of getting another display, either a TV or a monitor to put over there, So when I'm teaching, I
Right.
can see my students on a bigger screen on Zoom.
Yeah.
Because I've been lately for the last month or two, ever since Zoom released an app for the Fire TV, I prefer to take my online courses that I take downstairs in my living room on the 55-inch screen.
There you go.
Because then I can see the teacher and I'm not looking at this little, little dinky thing, and it's kind of nice.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about setting up something like that over there. So I go to Best Buy and I go straight to the open box deals because number one, it's not going into a landfill. And number two, they're cheaper.
Yeah.
So there you go.
So I watched an interesting video on Facebook, and it was a metal shredder. So just like your paper shredder.
Yeah.
So imagine, I mean, maybe 5 foot long by 3 foot wide, and it just had those shredder wheels going over and over, and I mean at a big scale, and they were putting metal things in there, like they put in a bicycle, and it would just shred the bicycle out into little tiny parts. And I was thinking, we're talking about landfills and things like that. If a lot of times in the landfill, they just throw that stuff in there and then they run over it with a piece of heavy machinery to flatten it. Yep. I was thinking if it were shredded, it would shrink down so much smaller.
And don't you think it could be recycled into something else?
Well, and that's the thing that they were well, and it kind of made me think about, okay, so how could you separate the metals, at least the irons, out? Because you can easily catch iron with a magnet. You can't catch aluminums and coppers and nickels, but you're like, well, if you can, but you can catch iron. I was thinking, if you had a electromagnet on the bottom of that thing, so when steel went through, and as it rotates, it sucks it one direction and then turns off, and then it sends all the steel one way down the conveyor belt and all the junk down the other way. I thought that would be an interesting process of recycling and getting stuff out of the landfill.
Yeah. Hey, on the topic of interesting ideas, I wanted to share this with you too. I think I came up with this on my own. Don't think I've heard about it anywhere else. Tax incentives for people to get vaccinated.
Okay.
Give everybody $1,000 if you get your jab.
Healthier. It'd be cheaper on the healthcare.
Why not? Insurance. Right? Rather than just sending everyone a check, right? You go in, you get your proof of vaccination. Now we'd need to actually track these proof of vaccination. Like the way they're doing it now, just, here's your piece of paper. Have fun. Yeah. That's not going to cut it. But it shouldn't take any more work than it does to track whether or not you've sent people their checks. Right? So why not? Maybe I'll call my senator after this call and see if I can make that a suggestion. So.
The problem is then they've got to make a department for that to do all the
I think we have enough overhead that we could do that now without a whole new department. I think between the FDA and whoever's administering the shots and the IRS and stuff, I think the two of them could talk.
You'd like to think that, wouldn't you?
I would. Brother. So, yeah. So the last thing that I have done starting this past week is I consolidated my work schedule.
Okay.
Starting with my yoga teaching. So I generally provide service for the hospital network Mondays through Thursdays ish. And then Thursday afternoon to Friday, I generally dedicate to other clients for consulting matters. And then my yoga schedule was all over the place. So now what I've done is I teach in studio Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then I've consolidated all of my private lessons into a single small group on Wednesday nights.
There you go.
So now I'm trying diligently to get back to a 3.5-4 day work week. That's what I'm working towards. So wish me luck.
Good luck.
Thank
Well,
you.
I mean, we've talked about that before. It's a utopian idea that I'd like to have, because I can see it, but I'm not great at, it's kind of like dieting. I
Yep.
know how to diet, but
Yep.
I don't always initiate or execute it well.
So what I'm wondering is, do we need to like schedule non-work time?
I think you almost have to.
Right. So what I'm planning on doing is I have to pick, I'm going to sign up for a half marathon in a couple months, no biggie. But I plan to sign up for an ultra marathon sometime this year. And also want to look up, COVID permitting, for a running retreat as well. So like that'll be my first real vacation in years, going away for like a solid week just to work on running and running coaching. I think that sounds like a lot of fun. You may, dear listener, think I'm insane, and you may be right. But when I start training for a marathon or an ultra marathon, there's going to be a lot of running involved in that. And so that's going to be my non-work time. That's going to be my me time. And I'm going to have to start scheduling that, because there are some days where, like doing back-to-back, like 15 or 20 milers, that takes time, So I've found that running is a good way to reclaim my personal time, so it's like, what do you do? Well, to avoid work, I'm going to just go run.
Well, Mike, I want to say it was Mike McAllowitz, and then I think also this other person that I listened to that was a rich dad, poor dad kind of advocate, is they wanted to take a month off of work.
Yep.
And so they spent all of their time preparing for that month off of work, putting everything that needs to be in place so that everything would run and keep doing their business without them being there for that month. And it forced them to be that productive in order to do that. So I think like you said, you almost have to block out the time of when you're not going to work. Otherwise, your hopes of having time of no work is never going to come to fruition.
Something else will always come up to take the time if you let it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Block the time.
Block the time. That's it. Well, on that note, I haven't eaten. I had a small Cliff Bar and a couple of cups of coffee today, so I should block off some time for food. Would you care to take us out?
I would care.
Well, care then.
Yeah. Dear listener, we would like your feedback. If you'd like to discuss a particular topic, then you can drop us a line at www.blurringthelinespodcast.com. You can also find us on Twitter. You can find us on our websites at paradigmcc.com, yogawithpeter.com, friendswithbeer.com, and you can find me at sublimecomp.com. And with that, I hit the big red button.
Boom.